Deep within my soul, there exists a passion, a desire to record a segment about the fart that erupted on The View. But this segment is not about that, because to be honest, there's not much to say other than apparently someone moved in their seat, made a fart noise, and now you got Fartgate 2.0 over at The View. But that's the news there. So at least I got to bring it up because I really didn't want to let that one go. But no, this segment is about UBI. Why universal basic income does not work. And James Lindsay has an interesting thread explaining what would happen if the government gave everybody $100 to buy groceries with. Now, I somewhat disagree with James Lindsay. I agree it wouldn't work. I agree universal basic income, the practice by which the government just gives you money, would not work. But I agree for different reasons. And I see something different happening than James Lindsay sees. Let me read you this thread, and we'll talk about the issue. James Lindsay says, I'm so glad you brought this up. I've been meaning to do a little thought experiment on the government giving everyone, say, $100 a week for groceries. A universal basic income, but through grocery coupons, not just cash. What would happen? Oh, man. Already a lot to break down. My friends, I have been on EBT in my life. I appreciate the programs. They helped me. I have received unemployment benefits. Saved my life. That's why I don't think we just throw out these programs, but they do need hard reform and restrictions. There were periods where I've lost my job through no fault of my own, was embroiled in lawsuits, and had no income. Couldn't find a job. Unemployment benefits saved me. Only giving me a teeny bit of money. Like, I think at one period it was like $50 a week. But hey, man, I got to eat. But anyway, let's read more. James Lee says, so your grocery store knows you have your usual grocery budget plus $100 from the government. What are they going to do? Everything they can to capture that $100 from the government plus as big a percentage of your usual grocery budget as possible. No, I completely disagree. Dr. James Lindsay. I'm pretty sure James Lindsay is a doctor. The evil corporation is not going to go, yeah, people have $100 extra. Let's steal that from them. I'll explain why. Let me read more. James says, you can go to any grocery store you want, obviously, but the incentive is now firmly in place for all of them to marginally increase prices on everything, unless you demand price fixing too, and to sell you package deals that cost around $100 to $125, but that don't have everything. If everything stays clean, we just end up with more expensive groceries and most of the $100 a week per capita going into the coffers of the grocery stores, mostly as scammed for profit. But what if people get fat or sick and the government starts issuing more specific coupons to fix it? So Nabisco and Coke cut a completely above board deal with the politicians so that $40 of your $100 can be directed to their products because they're giving you coupons for those and not other things. Maybe not. But it's a risk that wasn't there before. Then the Klaus Schwab gets Greta to tell the world that beef is bad for the environment, so you can't really spend that much of your grocery subsidy on beef. The coupons contour your buying. Maybe it just stays corporate grift. It's a great reason I'm wrong. Truth Prevails responds, grocers would increase the price so as to capture the $100 while giving less goods for it. Unless there is significant local competition that keeps prices in line. Even if so, they still want as much of that sweet, sweet government cheddar as they can get. Editing tweet, blah, blah, blah. Y'all are wrong. I'll tell you simply why this will not work. I, in my many years, also worked at a grocery store. I was what's called a facer. You know what a facer does? Talk about a stupid job. But they got to do it, I guess. You walk down the aisles. They'd be like, okay, you have aisles 2, 3, and 4. I then have to pull all of the products to the front of the shelf. My guy, replace these people with spring mechanisms and you will save yourself money. But okay, they would rather employ 20 teenagers to go through the aisles and take the box of Raisin Bran from the back and bring it to the front. That's facing. The issue is when people are looking down the aisle and they see empty shelves, they don't walk down the aisle. Even though the groceries are there, they're just pushed to the back. Why am I telling you this? I got paid, I think, maybe like $8 an hour. It's pretty impressive for 20 years ago, getting $8 an hour. Only worked like 4 hours a day for 3 days, though, and they had a bunch of people, and they made you join the union. It was so dumb. Here's what will happen. If you give everyone $100 for groceries, Do you know why I worked such a crummy job? I certainly wasn't paying my rent with this money. It was barely any money. I needed food. I needed to eat. So I went to the grocery store and I said, please give me some work so that I might buy food. Now, what would happen if the government gave me $100? I'd say, yo, I don't need to work here. I already got $100. I'm going to go buy food. What happens? The grocery store needs stockers and facers. Okay. If you don't have the facers, people buy less, revenue goes down. That's why they pay for the people to go down the aisle and pull the groceries forward. This is why UBI does not work. You would end up with an individual. Now, hold on. I suppose there's an argument if we automate the whole process and make every job automatic and everything's a vending machine, maybe we have to do some kind of subsidy in the future. But for the time being, no, bro. The evil corporation grocery store, as the left would like to believe, is not going to be like, we're going to raise the price of beef because we know you can afford it. They're going to say, we can't get anybody to work here. Nobody wants to work because they're getting $100 for free. What can we do? Offer more money, I guess. Okay. Hey, young man, we were going to pay you $12 an hour to do this job. You said no because you now have leverage in negotiations. You see how that works? Young man walks into a grocery store and says, I have nothing. I need work to make money. And they say, it's a low-skilled job. Here's how much we can afford to pay you. I say, okay, $10 an hour. The government then says, hold on there, buddy. I'll give you $100 guaranteed for no reason. I say, thank you very much. Thanks for the job offer. I don't need it. You were going to give me 30 hours a week at $10. I know it's $300 after taxes. It's like $220 something. But to be honest, with this $100, I get all the food I need and I don't need to work here. So I'll go play music, on the street somewhere for supplemental income because the money's free. The choice is I get money no matter what and I can eat food. So I don't need to do anything, or spend my week working at a grocery store and then just have extra money for what? Nah, I'd rather hang out with my friends. I already got food. My needs are covered. So the grocery store then says, okay, fine. How about $15 an hour? And I go, $15 an hour, huh? Okay. Well, I'm getting that $100. What do you say? $100 a week for free. I'm going to work 30 hours. So now we're talking $450, huh? Oof. Take home after that. Now I'm looking at like $375, maybe $350. Yo, I can buy those Pokemon cards I really wanted. All right, I'll do this for a little bit. $15 an hour, good call. The grocery store then says, okay, we had to just increase the cost of our labor by 50%. Split that up amongst all the goods. You now walk into your grocery store and you say, how did the cost just jump 12% on all these products? And they say, the only way we can hire people is if we pay them more. Well, what now? Homeboy walks up and says, dude, I was getting $100 from the government for food, but now I can't afford to buy anything because the costs are too high. All of the food that I was going to buy this week is up by 20%. Then the government says, hey, or I should say Democrats come out and go, this $100 isn't cutting it. People can't survive on this. The prices in inflation are too high. We need to increase it to $200. Rinse and repeat. Hyperinflation will ensue as the government mass prints money to just guarantee people get free stuff. Somebody's got to make that stuff. Somebody's got to work. And the more you give free money, you are giving free leverage to people to say, pay me more or else, causing the businesses, through no fault of their own, to be forced to raise prices to compete. And thus, the system just comes crumbling down. By all means, my friends, I would love it if there was a solution to the UBI problem. Or I should say the automation problem, whatever you want to call it. And I think there may be. The solution right now is not to give everyone $100 a week. The solution may be a stipulation that controls for leverage gains that provides access to resources as we move heavily towards automation. That is to say, automation should be reducing prices at the same time as UBI or some kind of guarantee is slowly increasing them, stabilizing something. I don't think it ultimately works because no matter what, you will need a human to do work. No matter what robot you create, let's talk about facing. Let's say the shelf, and many stores do have this. They have a spring mechanism where you load all the boxes, you put them in and you push it and it goes all the way back. When you pull a box out, it pushes it forward, automatically facing. Simple spring mechanism, one-time investment, don't got to hire any humans. What happens when we get rid of all of those? Okay, well, now there's room for competition, business leverage. The store then says, look, we replaced all of our staff with spring mechanisms. We can sell this box of cereal for $4 instead of $5, and people will stop going to the Kroger and start coming to the Save-On. You see how that works? Prices then go down. If you don't have to hire people, there's not a big reason for prices to go up. So there may be a possibility through automation that there's some kind of balancing act that can take place. However, someone still has to work at the store to load the goods. They're still going to need to spend money. There's a potential way to do this, but I'm not going to pretend to be the expert to tell you how it's done. As it stands right now, you cannot make UBI. And it's not because corporations are greedy. That's an overly simplistic view. But I appreciated the thread from James Lindsay. We'll see how it goes, my friends, as the future changes everything, and we will see systems you never thought imaginable. Like no one predicted cell phones and how that would change everything, but it did. So we'll see. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up in a few minutes. Stick around, and I will see you all shortly.